Have you ever received a phone call that made every hair on your body stand up? Have you ever heard a voice you knew, absolutely knew, should be impossible to hear again? And have you ever felt that cold, sinking feeling late at night when memories return louder than sleep and the past suddenly feels closer than the present? I thought I had learned to live with her absence, learned to fold the grief into something quiet until that night. Because at exactly 2 a.m., when the world was silent and my house felt too big for my own thoughts, my phone rang, and the voice on the other end made my blood run cold. It was her, the woman who died 3 years ago, and she whispered, trembling, "Open the door." For a moment, I just stared at the screen, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The room felt colder, the kind of cold that sinks into your bones when something isn't right. I told myself it had to be a mistake, a glitch, a wrong number, a dream I hadn't woken up from. But the voice was hers. Soft, familiar, impossible. I whispered her name, almost afraid to breathe. And that's when the line crackled, as if someone or something was standing too close to the phone. The air around me tightened, and a fear I hadn't felt in years pressed against my chest. I wanted to hang up. I wanted to forget I had ever heard that voice. But something inside me refused to move. Because there are some calls you can't ignore, no matter how terrifying they are. I pressed the phone closer to my ear, my breath turning shallow as the silence on the other end stretched too long, unnaturally long. Then, suddenly, a faint sound emerged, a shaky inhale, the way she used to breathe when she was cold or frightened. My entire body tensed. Memories I'd buried deep began clawing their way back. Her last days, the goodbye I never wanted to say, the voice I thought I'd lost forever. And then, through the static, she spoke again. Not a sentence, not even a full word, just a trembling whisper that sounded almost like a plea. My heart twisted with fear and longing, two emotions wrestling inside me. Everything in me screamed to put the phone down, to walk away, to break whatever strange connection had reached through the night to touch me. But instead, I found myself frozen, listening, because when someone you love calls out from the past, even from the impossible, you don't just ignore it. And when she finally said it, "Open the door," the floor beneath me felt like it shifted. Something, or someone, was waiting. My legs felt heavy as I stood from the bed, each step toward the hallway slower than the last, as if the house itself was warning me not to continue. The phone was still pressed against my ear, but the line had gone quiet. Too quiet. No breathing, no static, just an eerie stillness that wrapped around me like a grip. I stared at the front door from across the room, the faint glow from the porch light spilling under it like a thin, trembling line. My mind raced. Was it really her voice? Or was someone using it? The thought sent a cold shiver down my spine. As I reached the living room, my heartbeat echoed louder than the ticking clock on the wall. I paused only a few feet from the door, listening. Nothing, but the kind of nothing that feels full, filled with presence, with expectation, with something waiting just beyond the threshold. My hand hovered above the lock, but a sudden instinct, deep, primal, held me back. Because whatever was on the other side, I wasn't sure I was ready to face it. I stood there shaking, my hand inches from the lock as the silence deepened into something unbearable. Then, just as I forced myself to step back, the phone crackled again. This time, the voice wasn't a whisper. It came sharp, urgent, trembling in a way that made my stomach twist. "Please, Don't open it. My breath caught. The warning wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from the voice on the line, the same voice that had told me to open the door just minutes before. My knees weakened as confusion crashed over me. Two voices, two messages, or was this the real her? The one I remembered, the one who would never tell me to walk toward danger. I backed away slowly, and at that exact moment, a shadow moved beneath the door. Slow, deliberate. Someone was out there. Someone who should not have known her voice. And in that instant, I understood the horrifying truth. The call wasn't trying to lure me. It was trying to save me. A chill spread through my spine as I realized that whatever was waiting outside had nothing to do with her memory, and everything to do with a danger she somehow warned me about from the silence of the past. For a long moment, I just stood there in the dim light of my living room, the phone trembling in my hand as the warning echoed through me. My heart was still racing, but slowly, very slowly, a different feeling began to settle in. A strange blend of gratitude, grief, and awe. I'd spent 3 years trying to push away the pain of losing her, pretending time alone could soften the sharp edges of memory. But now, in the most impossible way, it felt as if she had reached through that very memory, through whatever lies beyond it, to protect me one last time. I sank into the nearest chair, trying to steady my breath, realizing that sometimes the people we love don't disappear entirely. Sometimes their voice lingers in the quiet places of our lives, guiding us even when we don't see it. And as I sat there in the stillness of the night, I understood that her call wasn't a haunting. It was a warning, a reminder, and, in a strange way, a final goodbye wrapped inside a moment I would never forget. Even now, when the nights grow quiet and the house settles into that heavy 2 a.m. silence, I still wonder, what would have happened if I had opened that door? Who, or what, was waiting on the other side, using a voice I loved to pull me closer? And if a familiar voice ever called you from the past, from a place no one returns from, would you have the courage to answer, or would you let it ring into the darkness? Some truths stay with us forever, and some doors are never meant to be opened.